Hello everybody, всем привет. I've just got a quick update right now. So this, I decided I wanted to just fix a few random things. I wanted to get the luck and morale working. So we go into our hero thing, we have good morale here because we have two troops of the same faction, neutral luck, and some random experience. That's what we've got here for Atlas. If we look at the current build, which is after the results of today's AI run, you can't right-click on it. I haven't built the right-click functionality yet, but you can see we have -1 morale, neutral luck, and I guess our experience and other stuff isn't running, probably because the font is not in the directory again. Hold on. Let me drop the font in there quickly and see if that fixes it. Quick rerun of the build. Yep, now we can see it. So yeah, that bug has happened, I guess, twice on video now, where I'm missing the font file that needs to be copied in. Sometimes my build gets that, sometimes it doesn't. Maybe it got deleted from my CMake list. Maybe that's why that's happening now. Nope, it's still there, so never mind. Yeah, so what I did here, actually, let's just go through the AI quickly. So I also added in situations where cemetery and shipwreck being visited will drop your morale, and I don't know if this is for the whole game or if it's just for the next battle. I don't remember, so I gotta go test that out at some point. Luck goes from 0 to 3. I currently had it coded in as plus or minus 3. I think someone did a mod of Heroes of Might and Magic 1 where they made the Fizbin of Misfortune, this artifact. Maybe we can even see it. Maybe it's up here somewhere. Let's see, do we have a Fizbin's Misfortune that spawned anywhere? No. Nope. Oh well. Anyway, the Fizbin's Misfortune in this mod that someone did will drop your luck, and so you can actually have negative luck in that case. There is an icon for negative luck, I believe, which I was a little surprised to discover as I was going through the sprites. It's kind of like a storm cloud or something. It was a little strange. Let's see here. HG files. And it's on the hero screen folder. So these are the icons, and this, I believe, is the negative luck icon. So I don't think they actually implemented this in the game. I think the luck, this is your neutral luck, this is good luck, and then you just get multiples of these if you have like extra good luck. Like for example, if with Atlas here, if we go down to the fairy ring, we get some good luck. Suddenly we now have a +1, so we no longer have neutral luck. So there are certain artifacts that will increase that, but basically I want to modify some of the fields here in my hero state. So this is, the map has an initialized state of the hero, but as you play the game, the state of the game changes. And so this is the actual like memory map that holds your hero's stats, like your experience, your morale, your spell books, what artifacts you have, what creatures you have in which slots, etc. So these are all updated, kind of how this works. And I ask it to update the memory states and the morale and luck computations and reflect these updates to the documentation and fix the display on the hero screen for luck and morale. And I think I explained, yeah, I specifically explained here that good morale or bad morale symbols are repeated horizontally to indicate the level. 3 rainbows next to each other indicates a luck level of 3. 3 morale icons indicates a level of plus or minus 3. And we can see here he's got a +1, but we go up here and let's say we can't recruit another hero too easily here, but what if we do this? Let's recruit somebody else. And let's see what happens to her. So now she is neutral morale because she has 2 different factions. And if we go in here and we get rid of the orcs again, she is positive morale +1. So that's just kind of one of those basic computations. I do have that working in my version here. But in this case, I was testing something, and so I put in a few other factions that just spawned with everything. And so this should have -1 morale because we have 3 of the same faction, so that's a +1. But then we have 2 different factions, so that's 0. And then we have 3 different factions, so that is actually a -1 morale computed. So the morale is being computed correctly. It's just you can't right click and it won't tell you why. You just have to kind of know that from looking at it. But the icons are displaying correctly. So that's good. So anyway, we fixed morale, we fixed luck. It ran through some stuff. Updated the hero screen and how it draws the frames. Made a few notes to a few changes to the map file, the map header file. Updated the game memory, but it gave me patch instructions for map, and I just said, I'm lazy, just do it for me. So it did, and so then I also. Previously, I had this function where I was randomly generating level 1 creatures between 10 to 19 and 3 to 4. But I looked on a let's see, this website here. So I looked over here and oh, hold on. So these guys, where's this going here? These guys put together a description of what each hero starts with. So I was like, oh, I should probably use that. They probably did some research to determine this. It's pretty close to what I was doing, but I decided to go with their take, even though they were wrong. This is incorrect. I can watch for examples in the game where someone starts out with different amounts. Like she started out with 10 and 4. That passes muster. He started out with 4 orcs, I think, and 15 goblins, so that also passes muster. So I just told it, hey, why don't you just update that for me? It made the change. And then I decide I want to start adding in some of these other features. So we have, these are called the adventure buttons. And these will I don't actually remember what this button does. This moves your hero. This continues movement. Kingdom summary. This will end the turn. This is some other adventure options, which is like seeing the world map. This is where the six, I think the 6 tile, the 6 pixel tiles, I think, are used here in this map, actually. And then this is some of the game options here. Your scenario info. So yeah, anyway, I wanted to create those, and when I click on the castle here, you get these you know, the summary of what is the state of your kingdom. But here with each hero we have a summary of just their troops, you know, what class they are. It's the status window. So let's add a couple things here. So let's buy some goblins quick, and maybe some wolves. So show a very detailed and subtle point here. So the creatures are displayed in reverse order here from how they're arranged. So that was one thing I noticed, and in my version, this is why I created a few extra creatures here. I threw in a few fun-looking creatures, and I made sure that these were getting displayed in reverse order. I don't have the spacing quite right, and I'm not 100% sure I have the right sprites going, because I'm using the Mons 32, which were the static images I was using before, and now I'm also trying to display the crest, but that isn't working yet. So ideally I want to display this. It's the SMCREST is the ICN file where these are stored. I have it located. I just haven't been able to debug it so that it's actually displaying. I have a little bit of a red box around this. This doesn't quite match the format of the creature, but I do have the ability to snap between the castle and the hero. So I'm pleased that that's working. The movement counter for the hero is slowly declining. I don't think that my movement scores are correct yet, so I'm going to have to work on that pretty soon as well. And obviously the hero can still move once they've used up all their movement, so that, you know, that collision detection isn't fixed yet. And if we reboot once more, here we can set this up, and when we hit this button, the hero moves. So this button is functional. This button zips to the hero, and that's what I thought this button did, but I'm not, to be honest, I'm just not sure. Let's see what happens if we do a new day here. Oh, so this switches to like the next available hero. That's what I thought it did, but if she goes all the way somewhere, then what happens? Then, yeah, it just switches to your next hero. So I think I was doing that correctly. Anyway, let's go back to the window here. So I also added 2 more things. I added the max value cap to hero stats of 127. And then the max level is 75. And I did compute when I was doing the binary hex editing tests of some of the other maps, like I think Dragon Rider. When I discovered which slot the spawned heroes have experience in, I tested to find what the maximum value was, and it was just around a level 75 or so was what the maximum value was. And after that, the game would just kind of freeze if you hit the maximum value of experience, which would take a while. That's a pretty high value. So I highlighted which buttons in the adventure buttons icon.icn set. I highlighted which buttons were which and explained that I want a 2-row by 3-column arrangement of these, and then I also gave it some instructions here with the mini hero summary. I gave it this stone back. That's this little background here, and then I said I want this hero crest, and then I wanted to arrange the heroes boxes, and I've also created a short version of the heroes names for like 5 to 7 characters, because I noticed, and this is just kind of random, but like when you log in, like Rathmont, for example, is Wrath for short. So there's like a short version of some of these names that is then displayed in this name. And if we get Vesper is already a short name, but if we get like one of the knights, like Sir Gallant becomes Gallant. So they have these like short form names that go down here, and so that was also something I specified to be implemented. And the subsequent 5 boxes, and then they show the non-animated creature, and they do this in reverse order. And then I also explain these locators. So this is called your castle locator, and they are in locators.icn, and these are the mini portraits. These are, well, it's in mini portrait. And then this is the movement meter. So I was trying to get something like that working, and explaining the empty hero slots. I think I should probably just show what some of these look like. It's a little bit interesting to see how they decided to do this. So let's look at these. These are the adventure buttons first. So they have a one for the depressed button. We also have locators. So these are, we have one for the knight town, sorceress town, barbarian town, warlock town, knight castle, sorceress castle. And I don't know what these white things are for. And then these are like the default placeholders, which sit here, but the actual game border also has those values. So it's kind of like a placeholder that can be overwritten in memory. Then we had stone back here, which is just this kind of stone background, and then we're using, I think, Mons 32, and I can also show you small crest. So these are the actual little mini crests for each hero. They have a much larger crest when you look at their actual hero screen. And so I explain which items go in which locator box. I'm trying to explain how the scroll bars work, how these buttons work. And I also highlight that only one of these things can be highlighted at once. So whether it's a hero or a castle. So it goes through, does a whole bunch of updates. File starts to get big. I had to continue once. I had to continue, well, actually just once, yeah. And so it created the locator, the adventure buttons. Its first try at creating this hero status screen was all over. It really didn't get the setup. So I said, here's the correct one. here's what you just did. Let's try and do better. Goes through. But now the small crest still isn't displaying correctly. So I tried chasing that a little bit. There was also this vertical gap where this is a little lower than it should be. So I asked it to try and fix that. This is the correct version. This is the incorrect version that we were starting to get. It's just a coincidence that the character is the same here. And if you look really closely, you can see that these up and down buttons are actually stretched across, and these are all a little bit off center below where they're supposed to be. And you know, this is a sorceress with a barbarian castle, so I need to look at why that was happening too. I didn't notice that at the time. I just noticed all the offsets. So I tried to explain again what was going on. Explained that these buttons here were actually just 14 pixels wide and not being stretched to like 96 pixels or 72 pixels or whatever that width is. It does a bunch of pixel math, like a lot. Comes up with all these different offsets. Then we get this. So we can highlight Maximus here. We can highlight this. This is still off a little bit. Suddenly this is in the middle as opposed to being on that side. But at least we know that these are getting overlaid. They're not getting stretched. This is the movement thing, but it's being spawned 4 times. Kind of strange. Let's do another pass. This is starting to look a little better. We've got these things are a little more in place, but this is still on the wrong side. So I try and suggest that. And at this point, I just kind of gave up on the AI doing this and went in and tinkered with the code for a little while until I got something that looked much better. And I gave that to the AI, and I was starting to run low on my tokens with Claude, so I was like, okay, I need to probably, you know, this file's getting to be like 110 kilobytes or something like that, which is starting to be pretty significant in terms of tokens for this game to process, or for the AI to process. So I said, can you give me some advice about how to break up the game main C++ file into smaller, more manageable files? So it says, yep, break it out into render utils, resources, rendering of the map, rendering of the UI, capturing some of the input, and the UI state. And then this will take it from 2,000 plus lines of code, which it currently is, to about 200 to 300. So I then ran this first function to burn my last tokens available for that session. Split out the render utils, and let's also make sure these are added to my C make list files. So it gave me some of the render utils broken out from game main, C make list patch, and it made a mistake, and my PAL cycles, my palette cycling, wasn't quite correct. It was defined in map.h. It didn't move it over. So it said, as a quick fix, let's just include the map.h, and you know, it's adding a little bigger file. It makes the file a little bigger, but it's not the end of the world. For you know, when it's compiled, it'll be a little bigger, but this is just a temporary workaround. So this is where we ended up. This is the current state of this. This is the DOS version right now. So this is the current state. We have some graphical glitches. This box needs to be big enough to go around this whole thing. You can still see these castles are a little bit off. They're not quite matching. These buttons are a little bit off. They're not quite matching. So there's some work that needs to be done on this UI, but it's functional at a minimal level. This is kind of working. We're missing the crest, and it looks like, again,